Hello, this is Jam Master Daniel 96, and in today's video, I'll be reviewing Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, and this will be a spoiler review, so you have been warned. If you haven't seen the movie and you don't want to be spoiled, please click off this video, watch the spoiler-free review, then come back to this video after you've seen the movie, and with that out of the way, let's get to it. Well, Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, is pretty much, set a year after The Last Jedi, and, you pretty much, have, Kylo Ren, slaughtering a village, slaughtering these people, then he finds the Sith Wayfinder, which leads him to Palpatine, which is, kind of one of the big plots of the movie, as where you also, where Rey, Finn, Poe, and Chewbacca C-3PO go look for a Sith Wayfinder. That's one of the big plots of this movie, is, they go find a Sith Wayfinder, and then you'll have bits, Leia trains Rey in the beginning, then, Poe and Finn go find this, information on a mole in the First Order, so that's that. Then, pretty much Poe announced that they find, announces to the Resistance, they find out Palpatine is returned. Then, and then they talk about Exegol and stuff. Then Rey shows Leia what the book's about, that Luke was looking for Exegol and the Sith Wayfinder, and that's pretty much, what the big part of the plot was, is how, they have to get to the Sith Wayfinder to find Emperor Palpatine on Exegol. So that's that, and then, where Palpatine is alive in this movie and talks about, Kylo Ren, and Palpatine wants, Kylo Ren to bring Rey to him, and then Palpatine says about how the First Order is the beginning, and then he wants to have a new thing called the Final Order, and then he wants that bit, and then also, with it, and then back with our main heroes, pretty much, Rey, Finn, Poe, Chewbacca, C-3PO, and BB-8 go to, are lead to go to the planet Basana, and it's kind of good in this movie that we get to see, C-3PO is used more in this movie, because I think in the previous two he's been underused, and pretty much throughout this trilogy, R2-D2 has been underused, so, I guess, they wanted the spotlight for BB-8 more, and, back to the main thing, they go to the planet Basana, which is the desert planet, then pretty much, Rey, Finn, Poe, Chewbacca, and BB-8 and C-3PO, are in the, little festival thing, then, first, and then pretty much, Rey has a force, gets a necklace. Then there's a bit, there'll be a force projection with Kylo Ren and Rey, and then kind of in the force projection, Kylo Ren takes the necklace from Rey, and they find out they're on Basana. Then, and pretty much our heroes meet up with Lando Calrissian, which he's been on Basana. And then there's talk, that him and Luke were on the adventures where he was finding Exegol and talk about the Sith Wayfinder. Then there's the mention of Ochi, which is, which was part of it. Then they pretty much, are on the chase from the First Order and stuff, and they, fight the, stormtroopers and stuff. Then there's a bit where they get shot, and then they're going in quicksand. Then they pretty much, go to see then they're pretty much in a cave area and stuff. Then they find the dagger. They see Ochi's dead bones, so you find this dagger which they need, which C-3PO has the inscription, but it's forbidden for him to translate because it's, in a Sith language. Then they come across this worm, then kind of, Rey kind of comes and heals it, which is sort of something where we see what, the Baby Yoda character does in Episode 7 of The Mandalorian. So we kind of see, Rey doing the healing power as well on the worm. Then pretty much they find it. Then they go to Ochi's ship, and Rey recognizes the ship because it was actually the ship that her parents used. And then, pretty much in this movie, we do learn more about Rey's past. And pretty much, our heroes go on Ochi's ship. Then, Rey, sees Kylo Ren. Then kind of, Chewbacca, Finn tells Chewbacca to go get Rey. Then pretty much, Chewbacca gets captured. Then Rey uses pretty much we'll see, what we see in the first trailer, where Rey kind of, she has that stance, then cuts Kylo Ren's TIE fighter, and then Rey uses the Force on a transport, which I think is where Chewbacca goes. Then pretty much Kylo Ren is trying to use the Force on it, then Rey shoots Force lightning, then the ship crashes, then they think Chewbacca's dead. Then our heroes escape on Ochi's ship. And then we also meet the droid Dio, which is on Ochi's ship. And then pretty much they're on an asteroid, and then waiting there. Then they go to a planet, because pretty much, when they take Chewie, they also take the dagger as well. And then they pretty much go to a snow planet called Kijimi, which is, they go to some, which is where they think to get someone to get C-3PO. Then we meet Zori Bliss, which was an old friend of Poe, and then they go. Then she brings him to Baba Freak, who reboots gives the translation for C-3PO, which we see him with the red eyes. Then after that, he reboots, and then his memory is kind of gone with that bit, and then the First Order attacks, and then they escape, and then Zori gives Poe a thing to get on the First Order ship. Then they go on because then Rey senses that Chewbacca is still alive. Then they go after to rescue Chewbacca on the First Order Star Destroyer. Then Rey uses the mind trick on stormtroopers, and then they go find Finn and Poe go find Chewbacca. Then Rey goes in Kylo Ren's chamber. Then there's a lightsaber duel between Rey and Kylo Ren for Force projection, which Kylo Ren is on Kijimi. Then they're knocking things around as where Rey recovers the dagger and all of Chewbacca's other stuff, like like his bowcaster and his, the little thing he wears on his body. So we have that. Then kind of Rey and Kylo Ren knock down Vader, where they have the thing where Vader's helmet is. So we have that bit. And then pretty much, Kylo Ren, finds out that she was in his quarters. Then we cut to the bit where Finn and Poe, Chewbacca get captured. Then they get by a bunch of stormtroopers. Then General Hux comes along. Then General Hux shoots the stormtroopers. Then it's revealed that General Hux is the Maul within the First Order. So we have that bit. And then also earlier in the film, which I forgot to bring up, that the guy that gave Finn and Poe the information on the Maul in the First Order, which Kylo Ren is in a meeting and has the person's head on the table. So we have that bit, because they know there's a Maul in the First Order. Then, as going back to the bit where we find out that General Hux is the Maul within the First Order. So pretty much, he helps them escape, and there's the Millennium Falcon on the Star Destroyer. And then pretty much, Hux wants one of them to shoot him in the arm, and then Finn shoots him in the leg. So, so the First Order don't find out that Hux is the Maul. And then we have that bit. Then Rey is in a hangar, and then, she encounters Kylo Ren. Then Kylo Ren, reveals, because even during the lightsaber duel, they talk about, Kylo Ren wasn't lying about Rey's parents. And then, so you have that bit. Then when they're in the hangar, Kylo Ren reveals to Rey that she is a Palpatine, which, that's one of the twists in it, which, pretty much J.J. Abrams made, like, he honored the Last Jedi reveal, but he added another layer by making Rey the granddaughter of the Emperor, and pretty much, Rey's dad was the son of the Emperor, so pretty much, they made that, and then so he kind of made another layer. Then it's also revealed that Ochi killed Rey's parents on the ship with the dagger. So we have that bit there. So that's the big, the big reveal that Rey is a Palpatine, and that's her bloodline. Then pretty much, the Falcon comes and Rey escapes the ship, and then pretty much, Rey talks about going to Exegol and wants to end Emperor Palpatine. And then they go to the, because when C-3PO had the red eyes, they revealed to go to a moon in the Endor system, which is, where we'll see where the Death Star wreckage is. Then we are introduced to the character Jannah, as, pretty much their ship crashes, and then, so that's that, and then they repair the Falcon. Then Rey goes off to the Death Star wreckage to find the Sith Wayfinder. Then Rey's in the Death Star wreckage. And also with the Death Star wreckage in the sea, like, this is a concept J.J. Abrams revisited from The Force Awakens, where the Death Star wreckage was going to be underwater. But in this movie, like, J.J. Abrams, revisit that concept, but the Death Star wreckage is on the surface. And then, pretty much Rey is on the Death Star wreckage. Then, she goes around. Then, we see the throne room where the Emperor was in Return of the Jedi. Then she goes and finds the Sith Wayfinder. Then she sees a vision of the Dark Rey, which is, from the D20, which was, first appeared in the D23 trailer. So that's that bit. It's pretty much, Rey kind of fights the Dark Rey, which would mirror, how Luke was in the cave in Empire Strikes Back, where he fought the vision of Darth Vader. And then pretty much, was pretty much, the Dark Rey was a vision, and so that's that bit. And then, like, she does that, then Kylo Ren comes, and then they pretty much want to fight. Then, Kylo Ren destroys the Sith Wayfinder. Then that's where we, start the big duel where Rey and Kylo Ren fight on the Death Star wreckage. Then, Finn and Jannah come to get Rey. Then where Finn comes, he screams Rey, and then Rey force pushes Finn back, and then that's where Rey and Kylo continue their duel. And then there's a bit, then they keep fighting. Then Rey, like, stabs him in the stomach and then heals him. And then Rey says to Kylo that she wanted to take his hand, but Ben's hand. Then after she heals him, and then says how she wanted to take Ben's hand. She runs off and escapes in Kylo Ren's TIE fighter. Then pretty much that's that bit. And then, we have Kylo Ren on the Death Star wreckage, where he's just looking out, and then he sees a vision of Han Solo that says, "Hey, kid." And then, so we kind of see the parallels from that scene in The Force Awakens where he kills Han and says, again, Kylo Ren says the same lines, like how he doesn't have the strength to do it. Then Han, is in the same position after he killed him in The Force Awakens. Then, also another bit what I like to add about, Leia dies in this movie, as where after their duel, where Rey and Kylo fight. So we have that bit, and then, they both feel Leia getting killed, and then back to the Han Solo vision part with Kylo, pretty much it's more where he goes to his redemption arc is where Han tells him Kylo Ren is dead, and then pretty much after that, Kylo Ren froze his lightsaber, and that's pretty much where, where Kylo Ren gets redeemed, and then Rey, crashes Kylo Ren's TIE fighter on Octo, so we do go back to Octo. Then Rey's, pretty much wanted to destroy it, then froze her lightsaber, then the Force Ghost of Luke comes in and takes the lightsaber, and then, Luke seems more positive in this one than he did in The Last Jedi. So, pretty much that, and then they go to one of the huts on Octo, and then in it, Luke wants Rey to take Leia's lightsaber. Then we have a flashback of Luke training Leia, which I thought was pretty cool. So we get more of a flashback, the training between Luke and Leia, and then Leia wielded a blue lightsaber, and she also did in the original EU, which even in the new canon, Leia had a blue lightsaber. So we have that, and then pretty much, Rey takes pretty much takes Leia's lightsaber. And then, Luke also reveals that Rey is a Palpatine as well. So that's that. And then, Luke wants Rey to defeat the Emperor. Then we get to see, Luke use the Force on his X-Wing, which is, kind of an homage to The Empire Strikes Back, where Yoda lifted the X-Wing out of the water. So we have that, and then, there's a Sith Wayfinder in the TIE Fighter, which, so we have that bit, and then Rey uses it to go to Exegol. Then she brings all the coordinates to the Resistance, which will lead him to the big battle. Then, we'll see, Lando reappear at the Resistance base. Then they're pretty much all planning their attack on Exegol, which, as where Rey was transmitting the coordinates, and then Rey, arrives on Exegol and, goes in the thing where Palpatine is. Then we, as where Rey wants, where Palpatine, meets Rey, and then we have like a big crowd in a Coliseum and stuff. So we have, a confrontation between Rey and Palpatine. Then we have the big battle that will go on Exegol. And then they have that, and then also at the fight, Kylo Ren arrives, which he's now redeemed as Ben Solo. And then, Ben Solo shows up, and then he fights the Knights of Ren, as where Rey, brings her lightsaber, tries to kill Palpatine. Then she, pretty much through a Force projection, gives Kylo Ren the Skywalker lightsaber, and then also Rey brings out Leia's lightsaber. So we have that bit. Then pretty much, Kylo Ren defeats the Knights of Ren and all the others. And then pretty much, Rey also fights Palpatine's guards, and then also Kylo Ren does as well. Then Rey and Kylo team up to defeat the Emperor, and then the Emperor takes the life out of him to rejuvenate himself. And then that's that bit, and then Kylo Ren wakes up, and then the Emperor pushes him back and stuff, and then we see Rey on the ground that says Rey, and then she's looking up and says be with me and stuff, and then we have all the voices of all the other Jedi, we hear Ahsoka, Anakin, Obi-Wan, we hear Luke, Yoda, Mace Windu, Qui-Gon, and they tell Rey to rise, and then we see, Rey deflect Palpatine's Force light, because Palpatine uses his force lightning to at the Resistance fleet in the sky, and then pretty much their ships are kind of a bit jammed. Then Rey deflects Palpatine's force lightning with both the lightsabers. Then Rey defeats Palpatine, and then after that, like she's on the ground, like about to die. Then Kylo Ren comes out where Palpatine force pushed him off. Then Kylo Ren, heals Rey after her like injury and stuff, and then like Ben Solo's about to die. Then Rey and Ben kiss, and then after that, Ben Solo is one with the Force, and then Rey's alive, then leaves in the X-Wing, and then pretty much then Finn and Jonna take down the main Star Destroyer, and then pretty much they win the battle and stuff. And then we also, during the battle, Lando and a whole bunch of people come, with a big fleet, and then the Resistance is victorious over the First Order, and then we see the whole, galaxy. Like we get to see a Star Destroyer and stuff. Like we get to see it, like Cloud City in it, like Bespin in a Star Destroyer is fallen. Then we see like Ewoks watching on Endor of a Star Destroyer being destroyed. Then we have the shot of Jakku where a Star Destroyer is being destroyed. Then the Resistance celebrate at the Resistance base. Then at the end of the movie, Rey goes to Tatooine, where she goes to the Lars homestead, and then she buries both Anakin and Luke's old lightsaber and Leia's lightsaber in the sand. Then Rey constructs a yellow lightsaber. Then this old lady comes by and says how no one has been here in years at the Lars homestead. Then she asks who her name, and then Rey responds, just Rey, and then Rey looks over, then she sees Luke and Leia's Force Ghost, then she turns around and says, Rise Skywalker. And then that's pretty much the movie, and pretty much, Rey is a Palpatine by blood, but takes on the Skywalker name, and then that's pretty much the meaning of the Rise of Skywalker title. So, pretty much, Rey takes on the Skywalker name. And I would say with the fan theory camps, I think the Rey Palpatine, the Ben Demption, Reylo, and Rey Skywalkers pretty much get the winner. But I'll say the bigger winners are more the Rey Palpatine and Ben Demption theory camp, as where the Reylos and Rey Skywalker people get the mostly like the participation award kind of thing. And my thoughts on the movie, like seeing it a second time, I even liked the movie more and enjoyed it on the first viewing and enjoyed it on the second viewing. And I did say in my spoiler-free review that even now with the spoiler review, I think this is like the best out of the new trilogy. And if I had to say, favorite original trilogy, favorite prequel, favorite sequel, I'd say best original trilogy movie, The Empire Strikes Back, best prequel movie, Revenge of the Sith, and best sequel trilogy movie, The Rise of Skywalker. And definitely would recommend seeing this movie. And that's that. And that's pretty much all I gotta say in this video. And don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, comment what you think down below, and sorry that this video was pretty longer than usual. And have a great day, y'all, and Merry Christmas.